Welcome to English Story Path. Here we learn English through simple and interesting stories. Not boring lessons, but fun stories with meaning and imagination. Our stories are easy to understand and help you speak better English. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. Let's begin today's story. Carl was a watchmaker. He lived alone in a small house near the sea. His home was in Penzance, a quiet town in the southwest of England. Carl was in his 40s and had no family living with him. His parents lived in London. Carl was tall, thin, and very strong. He had his own workshop where he repaired old watches and made new ones. His workshop was close to a beach called Eastern Green Beach. Every evening, after work, Carl went to the beach. He liked to walk and stretch his legs. The sound of the waves helped him relax. One evening, while walking on the beach, Carl saw someone. It was a woman. She smiled. "Carl, is that you?" she called. "Susan." Carl smiled back. "What are you doing here?" "Just taking a walk, like you," she laughed. "Let's walk together then," Carl said. They walked side by side. They talked about their jobs, their lives, and old memories. Susan worked as a security guard. She watched boats at night, near the beach. "I'm glad I saw you, Carl," Susan said. "Oh? Why?" Carl asked. "I found something today, and I think you might help." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a watch. It looked very old. The metal was dark and heavy. "Can you tell me about this watch?" she asked. Carl took the watch and looked at it carefully. "It's very strange," he said. "I've never seen one like this." "You're a watch expert. Are you sure?" Carl nodded slowly. "I know it's old. Maybe very old. I need to check my books." Carl invited Susan to his workshop. She had never been inside before. The place was full of tools, parts, and watches. "Wow, this is amazing," Susan said. Carl smiled. "Yes, it's my world." In a back room, there were shelves full of big, dusty books. They began searching. After a few minutes, Susan shouted, "Carl, come here." Carl rushed over. She pointed at a picture in a book. It was the same watch. "The book is about pirates," Susan said. "It says the watch belonged to a pirate named Eric L. Kraken." "A pirate?" Carl was surprised. "Yes, it says he had a special watch. A watch with strange powers." Carl laughed. "Powers? Like magic?" "Kind of. The book says the watch could help him travel through time." Carl laughed louder. "A time-traveling pirate? That's just a story." Suddenly, a loud noise came from the workshop. "What was that?" Carl asked. They ran back to the front room. The watch was gone. "The watch is gone," Carl cried. "Someone took it." "The door is open," Susan pointed. "Look, footprints." They saw large footprints leading toward the beach. "Let's go," Carl shouted. They followed the prints through the sand. Then Susan stopped and pointed. "There. That man in black." A large man was running along the beach. Carl chased him. "Stop. That's not your watch," Carl yelled. The man kept running. Carl ran faster and finally caught up. He grabbed the man. They both fell to the ground. "Let me go," the man shouted. "That watch is mine." Carl stood up and looked at him closely. The man wore old-fashioned clothes. His boots, coat, and even his hair looked like something from a history book. His accent was strange too. His English sounded old. "You broke into my workshop," Carl said. "You stole the watch." "No," the man shouted. "You had what belonged to me. I took it back." Susan asked, "Who are you?" The man lifted his chin proudly. "I am Eric L. Kraken, and I must return to the 17th century." Carl and Susan stared at him. "Are you serious?" Susan asked. "I have no time to explain," said Eric. "The watch is almost ready." He looked down at the watch. It began to glow with a soft blue light. Carl stepped forward. "Wait, you're really from the past." Eric nodded. "That watch has guided me through centuries. But I must return before it's too late." Suddenly, a wind began to blow. The sand moved around them in circles. Carl and Susan covered their eyes. When they opened their eyes, Eric was gone. Only the footprints remained in the sand. No sign of the man. No sign of the watch. Susan stood silently. Carl. Did we just meet a real pirate? Carl said nothing. He was still thinking. The night was quiet again. The waves washed the beach as if nothing had happened. But Carl knew. It did. And from that day on, Carl never looked at watches the same way again. Sometimes, the past comes looking for what it lost. A story to help you learn English and think about the mysteries of time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more simple English stories. After the strange night with the pirate, Carl could not stop thinking about the watch. But 1 week later, something else happened. It was a quiet Sunday evening. Carl was cleaning his workshop when he found an old envelope behind a shelf. It was yellow and dusty. There was no name on it, only one word. Room. Carl opened the envelope. Inside was a small key and a note. The note said, "The room is waiting. Eastern Hotel. Room 7. Midnight." Carl walked through the empty streets of Penzance. He had never heard of Eastern Hotel, but after asking an old shopkeeper, he found it. A very old building near the edge of town. It looked closed, but the front door was open. Carl stepped inside. It was dark. No lights, just a small desk and a staircase. Room 7 was on the second floor. He walked slowly, the wooden stairs creaking under his feet. At exactly midnight, Carl opened the door. The room was silent. It was empty, except for a chair, a mirror, and a box on the floor. Carl stepped in and closed the door behind him. There was something written on the mirror. "Say your name out loud." Carl laughed nervously. "This is strange." But he said, "My name is Carl." Suddenly, click, the box opened by itself. Inside the box was a small device. It looked like a pocket watch, but different. There was a button in the middle. Carl looked around. Nothing else moved. He held the device and gently pressed the button. The mirror started to glow. And then, Carl saw something inside it. It was him, but younger. He was sitting with his parents as a child, playing with a toy watch. Carl stared at the image. Felt real, like he was there again. Suddenly, the image changed. Now he saw his future, older, traveling, teaching others how to fix watches. Carl dropped the device. The vision stopped. The mirror turned dark. Carl sat in the chair thinking, was this a dream? Was the hotel even real? He stood up to leave, but something caught his eye. There was a small note under the box. It said, "Your path is not behind you. It is ahead. Follow the time. It is your gift." Carl walked back to his house. He looked at the stars. First the pirate watch. Now this. Felt like time itself was trying to speak to him. And Carl had just started listening. Sometimes, the key to your future is hidden in your past.